Welcome to Estate Sale Friday. So in my area, it's been a while. I haven't really had that many estate sales to go to. I've had a few garage sales. Typically on a Friday morning, I like to go out and look at whatever garage sales are available in my area. And even those haven't really been that good. I haven't really found anything worth sharing. But today, I thought I was going to go to two this morning. I went to them and they weren't even there. So I don't know what the deal was with the ad. They were completely wrong. So this morning, I didn't even get to look at anything. It was a bust. I didn't think I was going to go to any more today. I thought that was it because I didn't see any other signs or ads in my area driving around. But I was working on a project video and I had to go get some supplies. And on my way to the store, I saw a sign for estate sale. So I went that direction. I like estate sales because, especially ones that are run by a third-party company, because they're there to sell the items for the family and to get just to get the items out and probably try to get as much money as they can out of it. Well, this one sale was run by I think a separate company, but not everything was priced. You can tell that it's a estate sale company by all the items are pretty much like 80–90% of retail value, which is never a good deal. Well, at this estate sale, only about half the items had prices on it, so that always gives me hope they can find something good. And good I did find. Now, I didn't find anything to make a video of can we save it, but I think I got some good value out of the items that I did get. So let's go over those items and see what we found. So everything you see here is what I got from the estate sale. Let me go through the story of how I walked through the sale and how I found these items. So as I walked into the garage, typically all the tools are priced and they're laid out. But in one box with just a bunch of random nails and just junk that the person looked like it was just their catch-all box, was these pair of Knipex. And if you know anything about Knipex, these are German quality cutters. These specifically are diagonal cutters for electronic projects to cut wires. So they're very fine cutters. And I'm always trying to I've been looking for a pair of Knipex flat-faced channel locks, but they're so expensive, so I'm still trying to find a deal on those. So I knew I was in because I wanted to get this. This didn't have a price tag. Typically, they sell tools, if they don't know what the price of them are, for like $1 or $2, because they're so common, or most times they are common tools. This one is specialized, and I don't think the person knew what the item was. So I knew I was in for that. And then right next to it, I saw these catch-all boxes. Now I like to use these, and I usually get the Harbor Freight versions. This is the HDX, which is the Home Depot version of these boxes. And I've been looking to getting some more, so I thought, well, that might be a good deal. So the sticker said set of 3 for $25, which really is not the best price for 3. But then I noticed there was 4, so I asked the lady, I said, well, there's 4 here. Can I get it for the same $25? And she said, fine. Even though that still wasn't a good deal, I was going to try to, well, I don't like to ask pricing, final pricing, until I go through it. I had just gotten there for 5 minutes, so I haven't really even looked at everything. But I did, but I knew I was going to get this because when I pulled off the top rack, these are locking too. You can see you pull the different sides and they lock, which is a little bit nicer than the Harbor Freight versions. So I noticed this. I pulled the top one off, and I found all this electronic equipment. And I'm doing a tech fair project with my son, so definitely, I don't know who needs all these breadboards, but there's probably like 15 breadboards, and the wire by itself is close to $25 worth of wire. And here's some jumper cables. So I knew this was going to be a good deal, even at $25, but of course we're not going to pay that. We always negotiate. So then I looked down, I unlocked the second one. And I found some more jumper wires. So I thought that went well, and I could definitely use them. So that just added to the value of everything. And I think the last one is empty, but let's take a look here. You unlock it. Oh, right. No, it's not empty. So this was, I didn't even see until I got home, was here is a bunch of LEDs, resistors. I haven't looked at, oh, look at the LCD screen. So someone was in a hobby electronics. All these chips too. I gotta look up what these chips are. I have to get a magnifying glass, but we got a bunch of chips. Here's some Atmel's AT28C16s. So definitely look that up. Here's a 20. Actually, I was gonna go buy some of these. These are 20 volt power plugs. I've got a project coming up that I was gonna need that. So look at that. There you go. USB, macro USB. What else? What is this? Maybe it's Arduino. I don't know which type of Arduino it is. Key Studio. I'd have to look up. It's one of those tiny Arduino variants. Power supply, more jumper cables. So even if I pay $25 for all this, it would definitely would have been worth it. So at this point, I knew I was going to buy something at the sale. So whenever I do that, I always like to go through the house just to make sure there wasn't any little items that I might need that, you know, $4 or $5 that you'd pay retail, but I could get it for $1 here, something like that. Just get a little deal and to have it thrown in. The reason I do that is, one, you get a little bonus if you do complete the deal, but two, if it comes down to negotiation and the person's offering too much, you could always take those little items off and say, hey, I don't want these items, what would you give me for what's left? Then typically in sales, they would feel obligated to come down on their price. And you're giving away nothing because it was just little items that you really didn't need or didn't have a high desire to have, but it gives you a negotiating standpoint. So as I was walking through the house, I found these other items. So I walked into the office, and again, some things had prices on them and other things didn't. The things that had prices on them, you could tell they looked them up online and they were like 80% of retail, even though they were really used items. And typically that's not really a good deal unless you can talk them down on the price. But I did find a shelf that just said mix and match, name your price. So I was going through the stack, and normally I don't buy notepads because, I mean, notepads are a dime a dozen. You can find them at a Walmart or store pretty cheap. But what I did find was these two duplicate notebooks, and they are Japanese made. And I mean, I'm not a big paper and pen snob, so it doesn't really matter what the type it is. Paper's paper to me. But these are a little nicer, so I thought it'd be nice to have. And they weren't even written in; they're brand new. They're kind of gridded on the paper, so they're pretty. They're nicer. I mean, these probably, I haven't looked them up yet. They're probably, I'd say, $10 to $15 each. And these are the type of items that even if I was going to negotiate, I wouldn't give more than $1 per tablet for, $1 or $2, because I mean, it's not something I really need, but it's nice to have. I did find this other notebook. It looks kind of German. Again, I don't know. Yeah, Bitte Zuckerin, please return to. It says German, and it's Lutherum 1917. So maybe I'll look them up, and I'll put them at the bottom of the screen, kind of what they retail for. So it's another notebook again. It probably does cost a good $10, $20, but I wouldn't pay more than $1 for it since it's not something I really need. And if it came down to negotiation, these would be something I would just push off to the side to see if they'd come down on price. And you could probably get $10 or $15 maybe for all three of them to knock down on your price if possible. Another thing in that stack I found was I thought was just kind of neat. This is an aluminum clipboard which is used by airplane pilots to hold their flight plans, and it has these tabs right here. It's usually Velcro that wraps around. You can wrap it around your leg as you're flying and use this as a writing surface. So I thought it was kind of neat. It has different flight stuff that you need to know when you're flying. I really don't know how to use that to calculate anything, but it's aluminum, so it's a little bit nicer than a typical fiberboard clipboard. So I picked that up, and those would have been my items just to throw in to see what they would, if they just throw it into as a package deal, because I already knew I was getting the pliers and the stacking boxes. Then I went to the bedroom, and he had a whole gaming setup. Now, he had a nice big screen. This was one thing they did look up, and they printed off the price from, I think it was Micro Center where he bought it. It was like a 30-inch gaming screen. And so they're asking $300, which you probably could have come down a little bit more from that, but I did not. I don't really need it, and so I wasn't going to put that money into a computer equipment. But what I did see was this Snowball Blue ice mic, and it was only $10. So I thought that was really low because typically this is a $60 mic. So I figured I'd take a chance on that and pick that up. And what I probably will end up doing is just reselling that. And whatever I make off this will make up for whatever I spent today. These are nice mics because I have the regular Snowball Ice, or I guess it's the one step up. It's the Blue Snowball, just the regular, not the Ice. And that's what I use for when I do voiceover. So I knew it was a good mic, and even if I couldn't sell it, I'd have a second one, so it's not a big deal. So at this point, I had given, well, actually, let's step back. The cashier lady was in the garage, and after I'd looked for the pliers and the boxes, I asked her to put it off to the side right next to her. She could hold it while I went around the house to look to see what they had anything else. So this was sitting next to her, and I'm looking at the bedroom with the gaming equipment and the office, and I come back out, and I see her assistant was trying to fix a pair of stapler with the, picked up these pliers because there was staples jammed in the stapler, and was using these to pry them out. And that kind of made my heart sink because these are $25 pliers, and they're made for electronics to snip wires, not to pry out staples with it. So I really couldn't say anything much, except I was like, well, I like to check out now. So I was trying to get it from the lady, but she kept working at it, whatever. It's not a big deal, but it made my heart sink when I first walked out there, and she's prying a stapler to get staples out with these nice Knipex cutters. But that was just funny at the end. So we come to the end, and so I pick this up, and I bring the stack of notebooks with me with the microphone, and I stacked them up there, and I asked the lady, I said, well, how much will everything be? I always like to give them an opportunity to give a price. So right now the only thing with prices on it was the $25 and the $35 for the microphone, and that's what she said. Or that's what, so I was trying to figure out, so you're talking $35 plus, I don't know if they put $5 more on for this stuff or whatnot. So I was willing to pay maybe $25 for all of it. I thought that was somewhat reasonable. And so I always ask them what they want for it first, and then you come back to negotiate. Well, she came back at $25. Now normally, you never take the first offer, and you always offer a little bit lower than that. But for $25 for all this, if this cases didn't have all this electronic equipment in it, I probably would have negotiated it down more. But I thought that was a very reasonable deal for $25 for everything, especially on a lot of the stuff I definitely needed or really could use. And it was not just something I was getting that I could possibly use in the future. I definitely used a lot of this stuff. So I think I had a great day, even though it started off in the morning with 2 duds of garage sales. I found it at a estate sale, and again, that just brings to my point that I hate the reason why estate sales happen. Usually somebody dies or one reason, but I love shopping at them, and they're there for a reason. So I think I got a great deal on some of this stuff. Let me know in the comment section if you had any good deals at estate sales that you've gone to. But I appreciate you coming along and taking a look at our estate sale Friday. And remember the ABCs of making. Always be creating. Till next time.